Hi everyone, it's Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish. I hope you're well. Today's tutorial is for these simply gorgeous silver sparkle Christmas melt and pour soap bars, which consists of these beautiful Christmas themed designs that are embossed into some clear soap with some beautiful silvery sparkly mica. This is the December project of my 2024 Stamped Soap Challenge. It's the last one for the year. Stick around after the tutorial. I'm going to go through all of the Stamped Soap Challenge projects that I did this year and just do a little recap. But let's get back to these silver sparkle soap bars. There is one more stamped soap technique that I wanted to showcase before my Stamped Soap Challenge finished for the year. And these soap bars do showcase that technique. Because it's Christmas time, I chose some Christmas stamps to do it with, but you could do this sort of with any stamps that you have. It looks like I've got little embedded white soaps within my clear soap. But the way that I did the embeds is a way that you probably haven't seen before. I used a special technique. It was probably a little bit faster and quicker than making an embed and then sort of embedding it in the soap. And I really, really love the result. I think they came out really well. Okay, so before we get started, these are the stamps that I'm going to use today. These are cookie molds, so they consist of a cookie stamp and a cookie cutter. These are Christmas themed, but like I said, you could do this with any themed cookie molds you have, and there are plenty out there, trust me. But I'm only going to need 4 of these designs today, so I've just chosen the 4 that I like the best. I'm sorry Rudolph, sorry Santa. These are the ones that I'm going to be using today. Now I also need some silver mica for today's project, so I don't have any, but I'm going to make up some of my own. I'm just going to mix it in this little plastic canister I have here. I have a mica measuring spoon, some white pearlescent mica, some black pearlescent mica, and this special white diamond sparkle mica. So it looks like glitter, but it actually is a mica. It's just a larger particle mica, but the particles are much lighter than glitter. They actually even sort of float in the air sometimes. So safety first, use a dust mask if you're going to be mixing a lot of this. I'm going to start off by adding 6 parts of the white pearlescent mica to 1 part of the black mica to give myself a sort of grey silver color. I mean, I suppose technically it's grey. I'm just going to shake this up here. But because the colors are shimmery and pearlescent, it will look silvery. So here it is here. That's looking quite grey, but if I give it a little bit of a mix up with my spoon, you can see that is shimmery and pearlescent. It does look like a silver color, which is good. But what's going to make it really shine is by adding some of this sparkle mica. So I'm just going to start by adding 3 parts of the sparkle mica, and we'll see how that goes. I got this sparkle mica from Aussie Soap Supplies here in Australia, but you can also get a similar mica from Mad Micas in the US. They have a beautiful sparkle mica as well. Here we go. Let's just have a look at this. It's looking a little bit better, but still not shiny enough for me. I need more sparkle, so I'll add another 3 parts of this sparkle mica here. And let's see how this comes out. I do have another video on mixing your own micas. I'll put a link in the description. Take a look at it. A lot of people have said it's really helped them expand their mica collection. Okay, let's see how this is looking now. Yeah, I'm really loving that. That's really silvery and sparkly. I think that's great. So that was 6 parts white pearlescent mica, 1 part black pearlescent mica, and 6 parts sparkly mica. Okay, so this is the soap mold I'm going to be using today. It's a large loaf mold. I have 6 ounces of ultra clear melt and pour soap base here, which I have melted in the microwave. I'm going to give that a good stir. I'm not going to add any fragrance or essential oils at this point. I'm going to keep this layer unscented. What I am going to do is get some blue soap coloring, liquid soap coloring, and just take a bamboo skewer and just add the tiniest little bit, just a little bit off the end of my skewer, into the clear, just to try and it's got a little bit of a yellow tinge. I'm trying to lessen the yellow tinge that it has, but I also don't want to add too much blue. That can also start to make it look green. I'm just sort of trying to neutralize that yellowness with a tiny little bit, not even a drop, just a tiny little bit of blue soap coloring there. I have some isopropyl alcohol on hand, and I'm just going to quickly pour this layer of clear into the bottom of my loaf mold. Make sure it's clean before you do so. And just like that. I'm going to scrape it out with my spoon. That's looking lovely. And a spray with the alcohol just to get rid of any bubbles. And I'm going to let that set. Okay, once that is set and cooled, but hasn't been left too long, don't leave it overnight or anything, or it'll get too hard. But this is set quite well, and I'm going to demold it just because of the depth of the loaf mold. I just can't do what I need to do without removing it from the mold. So there we go. I'm going to turn it over so I've got it facing up the way it was inside the mold. I'm going to take a pencil and just draw around my slab of soap, and then just take a ruler also and just measure the halfway mark of my slab of soap, and just draw a line at the halfway point, and then draw a line at the halfway point of each of the two halves that I've just made. And that is how I will divide the slab into 4 even soap bars. And so I can look through the transparent slab of soap and see where the lines would be. And that is going to help me line up my cookie stamps when I place them here. So I've got the 4 cookie stamps, Christmas cookie stamps that I'm going to be using. And I'm just making sure that they're centered and I'm happy with their position within the lines that I've drawn. There we go. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take a small headed hammer and I'm going to use it to stamp this picture of a Christmas stocking into the surface of my soap. So a small-headed hammer is a really great idea because it just gives you a lot of control. Make sure that you can stamp all areas of the stamp and close to the center of the stamp around the handle. You just do it evenly, and if your soap is still quite soft like mine is now, it shouldn't take you too long at all. And there we go. Let's have a look at these. I've got my 4 stamped images. That's what they'd look like, you know, from the front, because that's going to be the front of my soap. Now I'm going to put it back into the mold. I really don't want it demolded too long because it starts to shrink or it might start to warp, and then it's much harder to get it back into the mold. So put it back into the mold as soon as you've done your stamping, and press it down as far as it'll go and make sure it all fits back exactly where it was. Okay, so now it's time for some painting. I have a fine paintbrush here, some isopropyl alcohol and just a little mixing bowl and my micas. I'm actually just going to use my sparkle mica by itself to begin with. I just added way too much alcohol there, so I'm going to add a bit more of the mica. Basically, you want the mica to have a runny consistency. So I've made myself up a runny mica paint, and I'm just adding it to the little grooves of the image that I stamped. Because this is just the sparkle, you can't really see it very well. But I really want this image to be sparkly, so I'm going to do my first layer of just the sparkles, and then my second layer will be the silver mica that I mixed up, which will be a darker color to sort of back it with, which will definitely bring out the sparkles a bit more, but also bring out the image a little bit better. So wait 20 or so minutes for that to dry. It doesn't take very long because the alcohol evaporates quite quickly. And now I'm just going to add some of my silver mica in here and mix up some paint again. I'm going to add a little bit more alcohol because, like I said, a runny consistency is best. A runny consistency just helps the paint run into the grooves of the stamp. It's not, so much painting, you're more just sort of blobbing it on. You sort of load up your paintbrush and then touch your paintbrush to sort of one of the grooves and let the paint sort of fall off the paintbrush and sort of get sucked into all the grooves. Make sure you've got good coverage all the way around, that everything's nice and even. Now, as you can see, those pictures are coming through a lot more clearly now that I'm adding the silver. And that's why I'm using the silver along with the sparkle. The sparkle sort of isn't dark enough on its own to really bring out the image, but I also really wanted sort of that diamondy, sparkly effect. So one layer of mica, and now I'm doing the second layer with the silver. And I'm going to let that dry as well. Once that's dry, you need to take a clean, dry cloth, preferably one that hasn't been used before, and buff off all of the mica that was outside of the lines. Now, the shimmer mica is not going to come off, okay? It's really fine particles and it's really shimmery. You can't see it here on the camera, but there is still sparkle stuck to the entire surface of the soap now because I've smushed it all around. But what you're looking is you're looking to make sure you get all of that excess silver mica off and that your designs look clear and even, that all the lines are filled evenly, that there's no smudges, there's no silver mica anywhere where you don't want silver mica. So there we go, that's beautiful. Now, this is the special technique I was talking about. Once we have stamped our soap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cookie cutters from the cookie mold set and I'm actually going to press them just a small way into the soap. So here we go, I've lined them all up. There'll be a little bit of a gap around from where the lines are, which is perfect. Like that's how I want it to look. I'm giving it a really light tap with my hammer once I have my cookie cutter in the perfect position. And using that light tap, I'm tapping it just so it's sitting a little ways into the surface of the soap. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fill up these cookie cutters with some white soap to act as the white background to my Christmas images. But obviously I don't want that white soap oozing out the sides of my cookie cutters. So that's why I've pushed them into the soap a teeny tiny bit and hopefully it will hold. And I can basically do my embeds this way. So rather than making the embeds, painting the embeds, and then embedding the embeds into the soap, I am sort of cheating and pouring the embeds within the soap. So I've melted some more clear soap base here. I forgot to pre-measure out some fragrance. I am fragrancing it this time just with some Juniper berry essential oil, which is a very nice sort of Christmassy fragrance. So I've stirred that in. I have some titanium dioxide in glycerin here, which I'm using to turn the soap a white color. I'm also going to add some of that pearlescent white mica that I used to mix up my silver mica. Again, I should have mixed this into my fragrance, but I just completely forgot that step, and then I had melted soap, so I pretty much had to work fast. So what I'm doing is I'm spraying that with the isopropyl alcohol, which will help that powder integrate into the soap, giving it a really good stir and working really quickly because I don't want this soap to get too cool. It's probably not quite as white as I was hoping. I mean, I want it to be shimmery and pearly, which it is from the mica, but I also want it to be, quite opaque because it's going to work as the background to my my silver shimmery mica. So I want that to work well. Okay, so I'm going to be pouring this onto a spoon and then into the cookie cutter. I'm just pouring it onto the spoon just to sort of give it sort of ease it into the cookie cutter so it doesn't smudge my mica or make a little hot spot So here I am. I'm just going to go through and just evenly fill up. Ooh, we'll have a leak. There's a leak. I can see here, I don't know if you can see it because it's happening towards the bottom, but there is white soap leaking out from under the cookie cutters. I'm not quite sure which ones are leaking. Can't really tell. I think it's definitely this middle one here because I can see some bubbles coming up. There you go. I'm just going to hold these down here to make sure the soap doesn't leak out anymore. Once these are fully set, which they are now, I'm actually going to replace the cookie stamps, not because I want to stamp this side of the embed, but just because it's going to sort of help me. I'm going to push the soap down with the cookie stamp while I jimmy up the cookie cutter out of the soap, because I don't want to just pull the cookie cutter up and bring the soap with me, which could possibly happen. So I'm pressing down on the soap stamp to sort of keep the white soap in place while I pull up the cookie cutter to release it from the soap. Which, you know, if you do it nice and gently and take your time, it works quite easily. There we go, pull that up there. And now I have these great embed shapes in the sizes of my stamps. See this white here that spread underneath? Because the soap's not quite set yet, it's still a bit soft, I'm able to actually separate that from the first clear layer and just pull it away, which is what I was secretly hoping. Here we go, I've got a little bit here as well. I'm just using the spoon or my fingernail just to sort of separate it from the clear layer. And then I can pull, I'll just show you here. So all of that stuff that leaked out, I can pull that away. There we go. And now I'll show you, look at these great shapes. I've got my little embeds done, but I actually did them inside the mold and attached to the first layer of soap. How cool is that? Cute little embeds, I love them. That worked really well. There we go. Okay, so now it's time to do my final layer of soap to finish off these soap bars. I have another 6 ounces of ultra clear melt and pour soap base that I am melting in the microwave. And I'm going to give that a good stir. So the process is going to be pretty similar to what it was last time. Again, I'm going to add a tiny amount of blue soap coloring just to improve the color and clarity of the soap. I'm also going to scent it with the same juniper berry essential oil that I scented the little white embeds with. And this time around, I'm actually going to add some glitter. This is how I like to add my glitter. I sort of dip the end of the skewer in the soap and then in the glitter. And I do this for the number of soap bars that I am creating. So 1 dip per soap bar. Because I'm making 4 soap bars, I've done this 4 times. So less is more when you're using glitter, and that will be the perfect amount, I find, for what I want. Okay, I'm giving this all a good mix up with the color and the glitter and the fragrance. I'm going to give my soap a spray down with my isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to pour that final layer over the top, just like that, and give it a spray to get rid of those bubbles. Okay, so it's all fully set now. I've left it overnight, so this is the next day. I'm going to demold it again and cut these babies up. I can see a little bit of smudging around the embeds. I possibly should have let the white embeds set a little bit longer before pouring the final layer, but I was in a bit of a rush because I wanted to get this video finished. I'll see there's just some of the white embeds around the edges have smudged a little bit because the clear layer melted. Just melted some of the edges there. They're a little bit wispy. Here's what it looks like at the back. But all in all, I think they're looking pretty amazing. I really, really love the glitter. Because I only added the glitter to the back side, it isn't interfering with any of the silver lines or the image at the front. But it looks like it goes all the way through, even though it's only in the second layer. What I'm doing now is I have lined my slab of soap up with the template that I drew before, that sort of marked off where I want to cut the bars. And I'm using that same template to cut my bars here. I'm just looking down. Make sure you look down from the top and so that they're cut in the right spot. But here we go. I can just use this template, and I have cut my slab into those 4 bars that I wanted. I have an acrylic beveler here, and I'm just going to give these a quick bevel as well, just for a nice clean finish around the edges. But I gotta say, these came out exactly as I'd hoped. I'm really loving the silver sparkly lines of the design, but also the fact that it's backed by that sort of pearlescent white is really beautiful and helps the design to clearly stand out. I also gave them just a buff on a dry cloth here, just to remove any of the fingerprints and give them a clean up. How fantastic are they? Now, before I show you the final photos of my Silver Sparkle Christmas soaps, remember I said I was going to do a recap of this year's stamped soap challenge. So way back in January, the first project I did was these beautiful blue snowflake bars, which I used the cookie molds as soap molds. Then for Valentine's Day in February, I did these beautiful embedded rose gold hearts. Very, very beautiful. They were fantastic. Then for Easter, I did these rainbow Easter soap bars, sort of where I cut some embeds and stamped some embeds, put them on my soap bars. In April, I did my travel soap bars, the perfect travel size soap bars for your trip around the world, embossed with gold mica. May's project was party themed. I showed you how to use cookie stamps to make soap party favors. I did Super Mario, but you can use any of your child's favorite characters. In June's project, I used some fireworks themed silicone stamps to make fireworks soap, a hugely popular project. And in July, I did these flower power soap bars where I stamped and painted these flowers in the center of my soap bars. These were so pretty. And then, of course, August, I went neon crazy with these summer neon melt and pour soap bars. Love the neon colors in these. And in September, I completely changed directions with these guest soaps embossed with beautiful garden-themed rubber stamps. Then I started up my Christmas fun in October with these Christmas hieroglyphic soap bars that were made from a large Christmas-themed background stamp. In November, I came up with, yet another way to use some cookie molds with these gold, frankincense, and myrrh-inspired stamped ornament soaps. And finally, there was today's Silver Sparkle Christmas Melt and Pour soap bars. Just look at the detail in these. It was hard to bring it out in a photograph. I did my best. But these truly are so clear and sparkly and shiny, especially when they get wet, especially when you're using them in the bath or shower. They are amazing. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned into the Dancing Soap Dish YouTube channel this year. I really appreciate everybody who watches. I'm going to take a short little break over the Christmas New Year period, but I'll be back next year with lots more exciting tutorials. Please like and subscribe if you like what I do, and until next time, enjoy!